Hi, welcome to Audiobook Academy. This is a self-paced audiobook. There's no need to keep an eye on things. Just pay attention. Thank you for taking the time to listen. This is an audiobook summary of Work the System by Sam Carpenter. Life is an orderly collection of individual linear systems, each of which can be improved and perfected one at a time, as opposed to a chaotic collection of chaotic systems. The mechanical operation of a business is dependent on the systems that make up the organization. To achieve your goals in life and work, you must concentrate on working the systems that lead to those goals being achieved. The systems over which you have complete control, the systems over which you have no control at all, and the systems over which you have some but not complete control determine the course of your life and business. It is necessary to document your systems, to separate, dissect, and repair your systems, and to maintain your systems on an ongoing basis in order to use the work the system methodology to document your systems. 98% accuracy is considered perfect because attempting to achieve that additional 2% accuracy would necessitate the expenditure of excessive energy. Systems are the unseen threads that weave the fabric of our lives together, says the author. In addition to a strategic objective, general operating principles, and working procedures, the work the system documentation includes 1. A work the system documentation. Your life is composed of systems that you have the ability to control, or not control, says the author. It is always the case that the simplest solution is the most correct solution. The mechanical functioning of a person's life is a result of the systems that make up their body. It is true that the mechanical functioning of a life is the result of the systems that make up that life, and that getting what you want in life does not lie in manipulating outcomes. Doing so is a diversion. The key to achieving your goals is to go deeper, to concentrate on working the systems that produce the desired outcomes. The work the system method is divided into 3 steps. Documentation. Taking systems apart, dissecting them, and putting them back together again. System upkeep on an ongoing basis. Because attempting to achieve that additional 2% accuracy would require too much additional energy, 98% accuracy is considered perfect in the work the system world. In action, it's the law of diminishing returns, and it's a catch-22. The enormous amount of energy required for this tiny increment of improvement is in and of itself an imperfection because that energy could have been put to much better use somewhere else. When it comes to understanding the exponential curve of excellence, knowing when enough is critical. Because we ignore the simple truth that disruption of an efficient system always comes at a cost in the long run, we make things worse in the long run by violating systems in the short term. According to research, happiness is inversely proportional to the amount of control we have. In his book Smarter, Faster, Better, Charles Duhigg goes into great detail about this. It is not in our ability to control others that we can find happiness. Control over the moment-to-moment trajectory of our own lives, and more specifically, and this is where we get to the heart of the matter, control over our own personal systems, which we are responsible for adjusting and maintaining. Sam. A lot of Carpenter's thinking is influenced by Stoicism and echoes what William B. Irvine writes in A Guide to the Good Life. There are things over which we have complete control, things over which we have no control at all, and things over which we have some but not complete control. According to Confucius, orderliness and meticulousness are the foundations of peace. As we fixate on events outside of ourselves that we have no control over, we lose sight of the flaws in our own lives that we can influence. Our failure to recognize that recurring personal pain is not always the result of a flawed world, but is more often the result of our own flawed personal systems, systems that we have the ability to repair. If we don't actively take charge of the forward flow of our own lives, the mistake of a lifetime is just around the corner, waiting to flatten us when we least expect it. In short, high-quality products or services, a stable workforce, and profitability are all the result of quality management systems, not the other way around. While going about your daily routine, consider what systems you can put in place to avoid problems in the future. Does your body perform less efficiently as a result of something you do to it? Are you excelling in some aspects of system management while failing miserably in others? In order to be efficient, systems must strive to be so. There is no cosmic inclination for chaos in the systems that make up the workings of the world. Source: it is more accurate to say that there is a default proclivity for order and efficiency. By repairing your life's individual systems, by identifying them one at a time and then rebuilding them one at a time, order, control, and peace will gradually accrue in your life. Permanency in the workplace is achieved first by creating written descriptions of how systems are to operate, and then by ensuring that responsible parties follow the procedures outlined in the documentation. The invisible threads that weave the fabric of our lives together are described as follows: systems. Regardless of whether the outcome is to your liking or not, the underlying system is operating exactly as it was designed to perform. For any recurring problem, there is a path to resolving it. Disassemble the inefficient system and fix the pieces one by one, says the author. Do you have a major problem you're dealing with right now? You should inquire. How about segmenting the information? Can you make changes to the segments one at a time? Says the author. Work the system's mantra is isolate, fix, maintain, as stated by the author. Knowing what to do is not sufficient. The need for action cannot be overstated. Essentially, a system is a collection of interacting, interconnected, or interdependent elements that work together to form a complicated whole. It is your systems that operate without interruption, silent and invisibly. They work alone at times, but they also collaborate on a lot of occasions. Sometimes they fight each other, but most of the time they work together to support one another. A system is the work the system methodology in and of itself. It is the command and control management tool that is used to analyze and maintain your personal computer systems. A life of serenity, prosperity, and contribution is possible when you have a master control mechanism for organizing yourself into an efficient life. If the majority of one's time is spent examining and fine-tuning systems to perfection, amazing results will follow. Stop looking for a miracle solution to problems that appears out of nowhere. Throw out the notion that life is convoluted and mysterious, simplify things, and get to work repairing the inefficient mechanisms that lie beneath the surface of the earth. It is far too common for us to pursue an all-encompassing, bumper sticker solution when it would be more prudent to simply examine the primary system's context and repair a faulty component. While it is possible to mitigate the negative consequences of a recurring problem, if the errant system that caused the problem is not repaired, the problem will almost certainly recur. System improvement is the improvement of a system, and the documentation of a system improvement is referred to as a working procedure. As time passes, the system improvement process becomes more and more beautiful, because things become better and better. Instead of wearing out, consider a system that improves over time. It is not your responsibility to extinguish a fire. To keep fires from starting is your job. Most problems are caused by poor system management, which manifests itself as errors of omission, according to the author's research. If you take a systems approach, you will notice that firefighting is occurring everywhere you look. What, in your opinion, is the most significant difference between the manager of a large successful business and the manager of a small struggling business? The first manages systems, while the second deals with the consequences of poor performance. A component of a system, says the author, everything we do. First and foremost, make the various systems conscious of their existence. Second, bring them to the foreground one at a time for closer inspection. And finally, make the necessary adjustments. In the fourth step, make a record of your findings. Lastly, keep them in good condition. If you want to understand how you are a part of a larger system, you must step outside of it. To put it another way, getting things right most of the time is satisfactory. If you internalize and apply work the system methodology, you will be a completely different person. Your declaration of independence and mandate for a better future are embodied in your strategic objective. A set of guidelines for future decision-making, the General Operating Principles document serves as your constitution. Workplace policies and procedures are your laws, the rules of the game. One of the primary goals of the work the system method is to generate extra time so that you can better prepare for the next task. It is the reluctance to put in the time necessary to be better prepared that is the most significant impediment to better preparation. The system documentation was completed during the course of the project work. Aim for the long term. The one-page strategic objective document will serve as a guide for your business and personal life, providing general direction. Fundamental Principles of Operation. This condensed guidelines for decision-making document, which is only 2 or 3 pages in length, will take 10 to 20 hours to complete, but those hours will be spread out over a period of a month or two. Procedures for work. In this documentation, you will find a specific collection of protocols that outline in detail how the systems of your company or your job will function. Your procedures will be organized in a 1-2-3 step format in 95% of the cases. In the remaining 5%, the format will be more open and narrative. First and foremost, you must put in place your systems. Your systems will then perform the necessary tasks. According to the saying, management works within the system, while leadership works on the system. Stephen Covey is credited with inventing the phrase. Avoid becoming engrossed in your work. Step outside, look down, and write down the names of individual systems in a 1-2-3 format on sheets of paper. Then, After deciding on the overall goal for the systems, identify any defects as well as any externally changing circumstances. Afterwards, make improvements to the systems while constantly documenting those modifications. Are there any systems that can be improved right now, looking around from the position you are currently in? The job of a successful leader is to ensure that the wheels of the mechanism continue to turn at full speed and with incredible efficiency. There isn't a single exception when it comes to the businesses that are large and successful. Small businesses in particular are struggling because they lack thoughtful direction and well-structured, logical procedures. Quite straightforward. An effective process must be concretely established, which means developing it in hard and or soft copy, disseminating it, and then ensuring that it is put into action. If each component of an organization is nearly flawless, then the organization as a whole will be nearly flawless, says Peter Drucker. Putting too much emphasis on perfection is counterproductive and short-sighted, the author says. In other words, it is a decision not to do something that needs to be done. Observe your day as it unfolds and, as events unfold, ask yourself, what am I not doing right now that is preventing me from moving forward? Think beyond the immediate temptation in everything you do, and stick to the plan as outlined in your critical documents. In the process of relentlessly moving you toward your goals, your documentation will keep you from sinking. Success or failure in any endeavor is directly related to the amount of communication received. I've noticed that most people advance in their careers during the time that others are wasting theirs. Henry Ford, in his autobiography. An enormous amount of progress can be made by focusing on the most important system-building tasks during the most alert periods of the day. For a given primary system, the task is to adjust the primary system's subsystems so that the correct components are being used and that they are sequenced properly in order to ensure that the desired result occurs over and over again. Concentrate on the mechanical systems that produce results, rather than the other way around, and never doubt that a superb collection of subsystems will yield a superb primary system. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Please don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. See you in next audiobook.